even. It's just more
Still
comfy.
telling me he's 5'10".
Hey? The doctors told me I'm 5'10". I need to get a haircut.
Morning, everybody. Thank
hello.
you again for lovely messages yesterday.
Oh, hang on 1 second.
Birthday
anyway,
messages.
As I said on Friday, I was supposed to be away this morning, but it's been rearranged to this afternoon, so I've been able to make this. Ellery, a bag of goodies. What do you like?
So
Naughty,
thoughtful.
so thoughtful.
So thoughtful. So much thought put into it. Now, naughty, nobody's allowed to send us presents.
A Welsh love spoon. I want to know what that
But
means.
Ellery, thank you so much. So thoughtful. All those little, acknowledgements
really
to each one
really
of us.
thought
Nanny
through.
Di and everything. Really thought through. It was
Yeah.
really, really kind. Yeah. But nobody sends us presents. Save your money, but it's really kind. And so many lovely cards.
Yeah,
Thank
and we've
you.
got, let's just do some shout outs. Clodagh, Fiona, Shelley and Sally. That's rather lovely.
Me with my fringe. It's lovely. It's really lovely.
Look like you've taken your chest hair and combed it onto your head. Lee.
Thank you.
Shelley Silver.
Thank you.
And to all of us, Steph.
And we've got ones up there from so many of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so
all
much.
of you. So lovely. Yes, thank you for that, Ellery.
Hide them. And
Maybe I'll make a sticky toffee
in other
pudding.
housekeeping, there is going to be a members live this Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m. And what's going to be happening then?
So, Rita, who I did that really funny ad for in the bath when I'm lying around all the chocolate, have sent me a load of advent calendars with little Rita chocolates in. So nice. So in the members area, instead of giving out cards this week, we're giving out. You'll be winning these.
Ooh,
quite heavy to get them down the post office.
You get them down there quick as well because of course the postal strikes.
Yeah, so that's gifted from Rita. So thank you so much for that, Rita. That's really, really kind of you.
Yeah, I mean, and let me just tell you now, there's weight in that.
Look, there's a chocolate in each one. Very kind of you.
Of course there is. That's what an advent calendar is.
Well, not always. We've done makeup ones.
Yeah, but if you have a chocolate in one, you're going to have one in them all.
Yeah, that's true.
I used to get so excited about just the paper
chocolate.
ones. No, just the paper ones. When you'd open
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And
I saw one of those yesterday. I was going to buy you one.
That's how simple things were.
I know, that's how
It's
simple
like, how
things were.
bad was it or good was the
I remember when
illustration?
chocolates first came in and it being so shocking. So we'll be giving those out instead of Christmas cards in the members area. So if there's any members that aren't aware of that, just spread the word.
Nanny Di.
God, I love that. So guys, yesterday it was Mark's birthday and we went to a nice...
Have you got a yeast infection?
Thank you. We went to a nice fancy restaurant because it was Mark's birthday. So we went out for a special lunch and it was really, really lovely. But oh my God, I have to tell you, I don't know if Nanny Di's here. So funny. You know, Nanny Di in her trainers and her woolly hat and her...
Moth-eaten woolly hat.
and her walking stick.
No, but
and she walked in.
No, actually, I have to confess.
No, she was funny. She was great. She
didn't have a
walked in
plastic
and
bag.
she went like this. And this woman came over and she wanted to take a coat. Then she wanted to take a bag. She was going to fight them.
Well, she was like, no, when she gave her a coat, she was like, you don't want to touch that, love.
Oh my God. But it was one of these restaurants where it was really lovely inside. And it was, it was flash. But there was no snootiness at all, was there? They were so lovely to Nanny Di and to everyone. So it was a really nice day. And our hearts were warmed by all your messages. So
Yeah, it really was. Thank you so much. They were all coming in thick and fast. Thank you.
But we've got lots to talk about today.
Oh,
We've got to
and
finish on time.
Can I just say thank you, you know who?
Oh my God.
It's Toffee.
Oh my. You're such a funny little fucker. We miss you, by the way.
Yeah. I can't wait to eat sushi off her face. Okay, so
Right.
we've got some funny ones today. Now, first of all, this drives nads mads. I just want to talk about the World Cup for a minute because for me, the World Cup isn't about football at the moment. It's going to become about football.
Should it be just about football?
Well, should it be just about football? But anyway, the England team have said, I don't know where you got your story from, because ITV is still reporting that Gareth Southgate has said that England will take the knee
Well, they said
at
on the radio
World
this
Cup
morning.
in Qatar. I don't know if they've changed their tune on that. Obviously, this is in keeping with the Black Lives Matter thing. Now, this caused huge upset.
This
caused huge upset with the Tory party, and I just think, as you know, part of me is just thinking, yes, we can all be critical of Qatar, but there's huge double standards going on here, where loads and loads of multi-billion-pound corporate entities in England are quite happy to deal with Qatar when it's selling oil and buying oil, when it's Qatar owning more of London than our royal family do. There's
I do feel it's put on all the footballers' shoulders, to be honest.
Yeah,
I do.
suddenly footballers who've trained all their
Yeah.
lives for the moment in the sun. The decision was made by FIFA. So I am now sort of spinning round, going back to Ninad, your original question, to thinking, actually, who are we punishing here? It's
Yeah.
going ahead. So the footballers
Whether-
are taking the knee in one instance, which you could also see as a bit of a kind of criticism of Iran, who they're playing today. Let's not forget, the Iranian footballers aren't necessarily the Iranian government. And also they're going to be wearing, this is curious, they're going to be wearing the rainbow-coloured armbands, which runs the risk of
an
at
immediate
least
ban.
the captain, getting a yellow card.
Oh, isn't that a ban?
Potentially the whole team getting a yellow card, which is a huge gesture. So I just think, personally, I'm of the opinion that I'm pleased to hear that the England football team are doing what they can out there and perhaps getting more publicity around this than if they just weren't there at all.
Yeah, I think the thing is we have to be careful, don't we, so often by how we're manipulated without knowing. So let's get everybody really angry about the footballers so that we don't see the big corporations, what governments are doing, how I just feel now the focus has been put on people that have got nothing to do with this.
Yes, I just think we've got
just
huge
look up
double
who
standards.
else has got their hands in deep into the Qatar thing, and maybe think about not shopping from them or not, because maybe people need to get hit in the pocket.
Yeah, and Naomi Proverbs, I wonder whether the taking the knee is partly in protest against Iran too. I mean, yes, there is the fact that we're playing Iran in the first match is just
awful.
when Iran is obviously going through the whole hijab thing.
Trying to decide whether to execute 15,000 people in one go.
Martina McKeown, that is incredibly generous of you. She's just gifted 10 anonymous or random memberships. I don't know if that's very Martina. That's
That's
very
really
sweet.
kind. So this is what some people do sometimes. It's such a sweet
gift.
thing.
It's very sweet.
Where they gift a month's worth in the members area, so you can try it out, see if you like it.
Oh, and also on that, this weekend is a pre-recorded No Name Sunday show. Obviously, this last weekend we had so many birthdays, we just couldn't get it together.
It's going to be a good one this weekend. So I just want a quick chat about I'm Celebrity, because I know not everybody watches it, so we don't want to bore people with that. But we're going to be talking about people pleasing. Are you a people pleaser? We're going to be talking about Ulrika and the fact that she has stopped looking in the mirror so much because her face is disintegrating. Her words, not mine. And what is your love language? So we've got some juicy topics today.
Now, what do you think about I'm a Celebrity?
So first person voted out was Charlene White, one of our anchors on Loose Woman, a black woman. And then last night, both the people, the lowest votes were both Bubba, lovely another black guy, and another black woman, Scarlett. And Scarlett was voted out. Now, both Scarlett and Bubba, to me, right from the beginning, have really felt like potential winners.
Totally agree.
Bubba is kind, he's funny, he's sweet, he's a good camp team player. Scarlett
is a manifestation of positivity.
I literally can't find fault with her, because she's not just even sick positivity.
No.
It's not even like, hi guys,
No,
positivity.
no.
She's a very measured, humble, not afraid to say what she wants, hard-working, team player, stunningly beautiful. So she's got that bit of celebrity, and she went yesterday. She went.
I think Holly McCready sums it up. Everybody will say, don't play the racism card, but Baba and Scarlett are two of the nicest, funniest in there. So it's hard not to quit. Hang on a minute. I think when you have 3 black contestants, and it looks like potentially, with Bubba being the second to last night, all 3 of them potentially going. How can you can't know for sure, but it's a pretty big indicator of something awry. And
especially when you've got people like Chris Moores, who's so boring.
Yeah,
and
he's nice enough, but he's not offensive, but he's not sensational. He's not fun to watch. And let's not forget, Scarlett also has challenged Matt in a breezy fashion.
Yes, very good
challenged Boy
interviewer.
George in a breezy fashion.
And Matt Hancock's still in there.
Who's voting for Matt?
So I actually felt really uncomfortable with that vote yesterday. I felt a bit tearful actually for Scarlett because the other thing I love about her, she's come saying, I want to win, I want to do really well with real heart. I find her a very authentic person. I think she should be doing more on telly. I think she's got the whole package. So I just wondered, what did you think? What did you feel? I'm not playing the race card here. I just couldn't help but think this feels glaringly obvious.
Naomi Proverbs, I was shocked. Get Matt Hancock out. He's a rank human. Do you Victoria Beckett, what if 3 white people did? I really think it's getting too thought into. The reason it's different is there is a majority of white people in there, and there are definitely some white people in there who are a bit boring.
And one that is absolutely a nightmare.
And there's one who, for a moment, was the most reviled individual in the country.
Yeah, the one who conned the PPE, who has been found guilty of all sorts of things, and also a huge part of the country we know are still very, very angry with him. So what does that say to these 3 contestants?
Sam French says maybe people just want Matt in there to do more horrible trials, but the problem is that he scoots through the horrible trials. There's no fun to be had.
He loves them.
He
revels
them.
He can't wait for them because he feels the audience loving him more for being able to do anything. But anyway, I wanted to pose that question. We were uncomfortable with it last night.
Yeah, it just struck me last night.
I DM'd whoever's looking after Scarlett's Instagram and said that I felt that. A number of my friends within show business that do often talk to me about how they have to work harder to get further and hard. I messaged them because I felt that they would be feeling it keenly, and I was just, I don't know, it left a bad taste in my mouth.
Joe Lomax, I didn't think the other celeb that might be is chosen at random, not necessarily the bottom 2 people. Well, if they are chosen at random, I think they made a bit of a mistake last night, because the thought left in the viewer's mind is that these are the two lowest. But I have read somewhere that they do go for the 2 lowest. The 2 lowest votes.
I just think from a producer's point of view, and because there is...
That's a big accusation, Anne-Marie Evans. The public don't have anything to do with voting.
No, they do.
Yeah, I mean,
they actually do.
There are many, 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 many big hoops. The way in which...
It is so closely watched.
The way in which channels ever can sort of, in a sense, massage voting in any way is not breaking the rules, is by how they edit a show. And so how much you see of someone and what your perception of someone
that's how they...
That's the only way they have control.
Danielle's a silent sub, but she wants to say she loves Chris Moyles.
Oh.
Of course, everybody has their likes and dislikes.
Yeah, Maddie loves Chris Moyles as well. I mean, he's...
Linda Tyler, what is wrong with people with such short memories? We're a very forgiving nation.
Well, we've always said that. When he went in, I said we are a very forgiving. Anyway, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with the next person who's voted out.
I really, really don't think she should have been out last night.
No, I don't. It seems ludicrous. Don't know why. So, and of course, I'm a Celeb is getting slammed for whoever is voting to keep Matt in, because this is about voting to keep people in. I mean, you often make that point. This could be, people can drop out of things because people aren't mobilised to vote for someone, and instead people vote for others. Someone is voting for Matt.
Holly D, I wish it was a vote to remove rather than a vote to save. Matt Hancock would have been out first.
That's probably why they've done it.
Does that change over? Does that change over halfway through? I seem to remember.
Elaine Denning, like him or not, he's entertaining. I beg to differ. I think he was. I think it was entertaining and novel when he first went in. I think he's become quite boring
Ruth,
now.
we love Sean too. I'm finding him hilarious.
I find Sean hysterical.
And I love Baba. I'm going to go and see his show. He's doing a stand-up tour. I'm going to go and see him. I really like him.
Okay, so what are the other stories that we've got here? People-pleasing. People-pleasing. This is a piece, Nadia, that was as much about the ability... Are you a people-pleaser?
Yeah, let's do a poll. Do you
Are
consider
you a
yourself a people-pleaser?
And explain that this article is about, really sort of pivots around the whole idea of being able to or not say no.
Would you say you're a people pleaser?
Yes.
So what's your definition of a people pleaser?
Where I would, if I walked into someone in the street, this is a kind of brief example of how it works at that level. If I was walked into by someone, I'd say sorry. if I was walked into again, I wouldn't. I'd probably hit them. But initially, I'm always willing to kind of not roll over, but I'm always willing to kind of go, yeah, it's me. I'm happy to kind of be shot at.
I would definitely class you as a people pleaser, and myself.
And when people come in, I will steer all conversation to what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly.
All conversation.
Reem just said something good there. Used to be.
Oh. Where's Reem?
Because this is what this article was
Reem
about. It's about how you can adjust your people-pleasing personality. Yes, and it annoys the shit out of me, says Russ Ouch. Maybe we can put the link to the article afterwards so people... Because I thought there would be a lot of people saying yes to this. I've definitely got better. But I think the thing with being a people pleaser is you're so scared to say no. Can we put the article up, Mark? So scared to say no because you think that, well, all sorts of things you imagine. It's a lack of confidence. It's low self-esteem that relationships, whether it's work or whatever relationship, will survive if you put across what your needs are or what you want. And so these are some of the signs, if you're any of these. Not wanting to disappoint a friend, colleague or relative. Wanting to be seen as the good guy.
This is why people don't or can't say no.
Afraid that someone will think you are selfish. Fear of being banished from the group. Worried others will view you as lazy or uncaring. Wanting people to love or at least like you. But I think what can go so wrong with people pleasing, and I'm thinking of somebody that I know is just like the most terrible people pleaser. This woman literally says yes to everything, but never turns up to anything.
Oh, right, okay.
So it doesn't necessarily mean you then follow through and do it, but it's an inability to say, oh no, I can't. Now, I've been training myself silently over the years. My God, I still find it difficult. I'm the one in the room when somebody says, oh, are we all going to go? I go, yes! And I know deep in my heart I don't really want to do it, but I don't want to look like I'm not fun. I don't want to look like I haven't got the energy. I want to be the... There's a bit of ego in there as well because I want to be the one that's like going to be, you know, the fun one.
Yeah.
But I have learnt as I've got older that the world doesn't stop turning. There's a little bit of ego involved in it. So what they talk about, sorry, can you just have the article? What they talk about in this article is just how to rethink no, to reframe no. Because I think the other thing is sometimes when you have trouble putting in boundaries and then you try, you can almost do it almost aggressively because you're like, I'm putting a boundary now. No, I can't. So what they talk about in this article is to answer with empathy for the other person. And I was a bit confused
when you
about
say
this.
no?
Yeah, so say for instance, and there's some examples.
Oh, sorry. Keep trying to keep up their comments.
Oh no, it's hard done. So there's some examples here
Are there?
of how you might say no. So, for instance, say somebody at work is asking you to do something and they're piling that onto you. You, instead of sort of saying yes and then overwhelming yourself, or saying yes and really resenting because you're under pressure, you look at what the person is asking. So, and then you would answer like, I know you're under a lot of pressure right now, as am I. So I'm going to have to say no now, but maybe in a week or so when I've cleared some of my stuff and you're still struggling, we could have a look again.
Right.
So it's how you frame your no. So it's rethinking how to basically say fuck off.
Yeah, but I mean, let's just for a minute, let's just pause before we even start to kind of... Saying no is a really hard thing. I mean, I've often thought, was there the Yes Man? Is there a film called The Yes Man? Being able to say yes to everything. I've often wondered whether we should do a sort of 24-hour with each other sort of, where you have to say yes to everything. I think there's a difference between saying yes to everything and being able to say no. I mean, certainly, when you're asking someone professionally to do something, and if the worry is if you say no, you will be fired.
Exactly.
Or the worry if you say no is you'll lose the the sort of feeling that you could perhaps, be promoted and all that.
Well, that's why they're saying,
Yeah.
rather than just saying no, feed back empathy to that person, and then you can move into your why not.
Yeah,
So, I can see you're really struggling, but the reason I can't today is because, and then whatever your because is. I understand that, but with all the work I'm currently doing, I can't take any more without causing a major, flow situation. And so what they're talking about is that when you say that no, you've got to open up to your own vulnerability, which I think is a problem for people pleasers.
Yeah.
They don't want to look vulnerable. They want to look like everything is possible, that they can say yes, and they pile on and pile on and pile on. But what eventually happens is you get bitter.
Yeah.
And you get angry.
Yeah.
And then you're no good to anybody, especially yourself.
Well, there's nothing worse than someone who doesn't say no to anything and then resents you for having said yes, because then you're in a no. Sometimes people want the grievance. Some people, I do think there's a category of person who wants to say yes to being able to do everything, but then wants to moan about it. So, for example, saying, I'm thinking in a domestic situation, in relationships, would you mind doing this? No, I'm busy. I'm busy doing something else. I mean, I think even in domestic situations, it's very hard. It's easy for, say, us to hijack each other in what each other's doing. And so we worry about saying no because we don't want to be seen as obstructive or difficult.
But you see the way you just said no, that's what they're talking about, to try and move away from, no, I'm doing something else. But if you're empathetic to that person, you can go, so say I said to you, oh, can you just take all that stuff out for me? And you've got 5 other things, go, oh God, you're really overwhelmed, aren't you, this morning? But I've got to do all of this. I might do it later. Is that all right? That it's about seeing the other person and then being vulnerable about yourself and saying why you can't.
What about the frustration that you haven't been bothered to read the situation and see that he might be busy? I'm not saying you specifically, but I think the reason sometimes the no comes out in a clipped fashion is people are saying, well, why the fuck can't you see for yourself?
But the people pleaser won't usually say that no. The people pleaser, even if there's somebody that they're really fucked off with, will still say yes.
Yeah. So if you know here's the thing. I think some people in relationships take advantage of the people pleaser because they know they'll say yes to absolutely everything.
Well, this is it. In work, in relationships, absolutely. Yeah. So that's why it's really important to keep trying to find your no. Where is your no? If you just even gave yourself the goal of 3 times this week, I'm going to say no for something. It might be really small, but I'm just going to say no. Yeah. And then you feel strong. I'd like to hear from Reem, who said that they used to be.
Reem's saying hi to Fifi at the moment. Hi, Fifi.
Hi, Fifi.
Zoe, it's Reem, important to show people not to mess with you and walk all over you. I had people walk over me for years, take advantage of my kindness, so I've learned to really speak up now in a nice way.
In a nice way. I think that's it, so that there's no resentment.
Kerry.
And once it works out, wow, it feels so good that you just keep doing it.
Yeah. Kerry Gracie, saying no is really hard for me, even though I've been burnt far too many times in the past. I still allow it to happen now. I've always put others before me. Yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard, isn't it?
But I think it's like so many
Happy
things.
Birthday, Millie.
It's like what we were talking about the other week about, trying to be nicer to yourself. We are impatient as human beings. It's slowly, small shifts, layers of the puff pastry, as I was liking it to, will get you there. But being a people pleaser doesn't change in a week. You've just got to start just shifting and not saying, I am a people pleaser. I've always been a people pleaser. I'm kind of working towards not being a people pleaser. And then you're sort of, you're giving yourself hope. Because we can do that. We give ourselves our own fucking labels all the time, don't we? And I feel like we're stuck with them.
Yeah, and also I think I go back to this thing of, you can see how not saying no too much in your life will lead to your boundaries being eroded. You will feel exhausted. You will feel used. But also, and I really mean this, I think it's really important to stress, and we've talked about this in our relationship podcast, ask yourself whether it suits you to not say no. Are you wanting, not in a horrible way, but are you wanting the dopamine hit of the grievance?
Exactly.
Or the angst?
Exactly. That's a really good point. Somebody once said to me, it was actually one of the loose women, and she said, I always say yes. She goes, I'm always saying yes, but I know I'm not going to do it. She said, but it's a really good feeling in the moment I see yes and I see the other person. That's a really good point, actually. That we have to be really honest with ourselves and go, maybe that's what I was saying clumsily with the ego thing, but actually it's like in that moment you feel good, but then you've got to spend all the time clearing it up, trying to get
for
out
example,
of it,
for example, in relationships, I think that a lot of relationships can fall into this situation. Welcome, Rachel. We'll do welcomes and happy birthdays at the end. I do think relationships fall into, and there's huge stereotypes being used here. But say there's the one who does the more domestic chores, and there's the one who does the more sort of pragmatic, practical chores. The one doing the domestic...
Sorry, I've just got to pause. Mo power. I just find a yes or no suffices.
The one who does the domestic... Sometimes the one who does the domestic chores never wants to say no to doing it, because actually in their relationship to their partner, they have almost a vested interest in their annoyance at feeling like they're the only one doing something. This happens all the time. I can sometimes feel it coming through me. There's that thing of, oh, I'm the one who has to do this all the time. I need to keep that cross to bear on my shoulders, because it gives me a sense of purpose to have the cross to bear. And I think it's really important. That's when relationships of all sorts get into a rut. Yeah. So I think if you're saying yes to doing things, and you're every time you're repeatedly saying yes to the same thing and resenting it, there's a part of you actually that wants to resent it.
Lisa, it's so true. As I've got older, I've been less of a people pleaser. Up until the age of 40, you worry about what everyone else thinks about you. After the age of 40, you worry about what you think of them. Great quote, Mark taught me one day.
Quote.
But I think that...
Lee Durrant, I can't say no to anyone. I get into a routine of just saying yes.
Well, so Lee, just say, I've in the past, I've never been able to, but I'm going to try and shift that. Because otherwise, again, it's like, I can't. You can, but it takes a bit of work.
You can't.
I wish I could fly right up to the sky, but I can't.
You can.
I can't.
But anyway, shall we put the link up underneath here?
I'll do that afterwards.
And then you can have a read of it and have a bit of a think about it, because...
people.
I think also with your kids, it's about, like, I was always taught to be a people pleaser. Go in there, say hello, be nice, da 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 da. It's a very sort of Arab thing. But with our kids, which we learnt from Mark's recovery, is that you can say, I'm going to leave it in the day. Like, don't have to answer people straight away. You can say, oh, can I have a think about that? Or I'll check my diary. Or if it's something's come in by a text, you don't have to immediately answer. Stop. Really ask yourself if you want to go. I'm to use the example of going to something you don't want to go. You can always say, do you mind at the moment? I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Can I answer that closer to the time? Because I'm not sure how I'm going to feel. And people, 9 times out of 10, will go, oh, God, yeah, sure, of course.
It's a really important thing you say, which I say to the kids all the time, is because of social media and the speed and rapidity of it, we are encouraged to respond quickly.
Everything's
One
so
thing I always
quickly.
said to people working in the company on a Friday is, if you get something urgent from, or claimed to be urgent from anyone after 4 p.m. on a Friday, it ain't urgent. It's not urgent enough to throw you into a spin. It can wait until Monday, because sometimes people do that just to fuck your weekends
I had to throw you
up.
back that advice to you last
Yeah,
Friday.
you did. You absolutely did.
Can you put down Millie? Oh, we've got Millie.
And, and the most important thing is I think Elsa Pop, you make a really important point here. Defo a people pleaser. When my mum died, I put my dad first. 6 months later, the grief hit me 10 times harder, and the anxiety was horrible.
Yeah, you're just delaying pain, really, aren't you? As people. Anyway, well, that was quite interesting.
Christos, just quickly, people should never confuse, misuse, abuse one's kindness for a weakness. Sadly, though, some do.
Exactly, and it is that line between being kind and being kind to yourself.
Exactly.
Because a people pleaser is over kind to everyone else, not kind to them.
Okay, Erika Johnson avoids looking at herself in mirrors because, quote, her face is collapsing. Wow, that's big language. Is that a lack of self-love, or...?
No, I think that actually, I think Ulrika... Oh, I don't love everything about
Let me just
Ulrika,
do a
that's
poll.
for sure. But something that's very good about Ulrika, I think she's confident in the way it's a very Swedish thing.
Yes.
She has a certain confidence. But it's funny, because you might think, oh, you're contradicting yourself here, Nadia, because last week we were talking about trying to give yourself positive affirmations in the mirror. But I'm a great believer. We don't have many mirrors in this house, because I think the way the world is at the moment, people are looking at each other, at themselves so much. Even on the other day, we were taking some photos, me, Lisa and Kaz, we were on the beach, and they were taking photos, and both of them were immediately going like that and spanning to look at it close up.
That's one of the issues with selfie taking, actually, is because you can see it straight away.
I never do that. No. I never expand to look, because it's never going to be what you want. This morning I was upstairs doing my makeup, and the mirror was in such a position, this bit was, you can't see it here, this is a very good lighting spot, was hanging right down, and I felt really scared. I was like, oh my God, that's a new thing. This is me moving to into the 60s. Felt panicked. I thought, I'm going to have a neck lift. And then I just did this. I went like that, and I just looked at a different angle, and I thought, I'm not looking at myself. Well, unfortunately, I'm having to here. I'm not looking. That's fine. And just walk away. Don't keep going back to the mirror. Find the best light. This is the best light here. Over there, I look completely different.
I hate the inconsistency of mirrors. So you can look in one mirror and you look okay, or you don't look too bad. I mean, I always take a passing glance, because then you go to another and you think, oh wow, look.
But that's all the different sides of your face.
No. Then you go to another mirror and it's like one of the mirrors in a fucking carnival where you're squished and you go, I never knew I had such short legs.
But I think you've just hit the nail on the head, as you did that time when we were in that museum, and the girls still quote that 10 years later. Tell them that story.
Well, we were in the Science Museum in Amsterdam,
told
as
you
you
this
do.
before, but some of you
And
might
there's
know.
this curious contraption where you go underneath and into a sort of metal thing. And once you get in there, you've got mirrors everywhere that show you the entirety of your head. So you can see yourself from every angle. You look at this fractured thing, and
you see yourself how a person
would see you, say,
as
from
a
over
moving,
there,
lots of
looking-
different angles. Like, nobody is ever going to see me just like that, looking at my neck hanging.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to see me like that.
And it was all I'll say, it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
This was some years ago, though. I don't know how pleasant it would be now.
I said to him, I want these set up for people with dysmorphia, because the problem is, because we have photos and we just stare at them, because you look in the mirror at just the thing that you hate, you're not seeing yourself as a moving, living thing.
When people, like yesterday, you took a photo, I was like, oh, fucking hell. As soon as you know you're posing for a photo, you look unnatural, even if it's selfie. Sometimes the best photo you can take of yourself is a quickly grabbed selfie where you're just ploughing around doing stuff. I just hate mirrors. I just hate mirrors. You look at them, I look at them with a passing glance. My mum doesn't use a mirror at all. A passing glance. I mean, some people are just not interested in the way that they look.
But the thing is, the way we look should be a passing glance. We should be concentrating more on who we fucking are.
Victoria Moore says, we have a mirror in our downstairs toilet and we joke that it's the truth mirror because you stand up to pull your trousers up and the lighting, etc., you look awful.
Well, when in loose women, so all our dressing rooms are in a long corridor. And so you go into makeup, you go into wardrobe, you go back into your room, you can look in your mirror. A team of people are making you look as good as they can. You take your last look in your mirror in the dressing room, and every loose woman says this. You come out the door, you walk down the corridor, and down the end of the corridor is this mirror that's warped. So as you're walking out to go onto set, you look like a munchkin. And it's like, I have tried and tried to get them, and they won't. So now what I'm asking for is a curtain, if they can't read that we can pull across. Because what fascinates me about that is it works. You look at yourself and suddenly you feel disgusting. Where actually, which one is the truth? This one, that one, or that one? But you choose the worst truth to go with, don't you?
And also, I think social media always gets a drubbing at moments like this. And I think, one of the nice things about social media, and why is it a terrible thing? Okay, yeah, photoshopping but you have some degrees of control over how you look and present yourself to the world. So why would you not want to present a sort of, slightly kind of, nicer version of yourself? That's what Sophie Art. That's why we've seen the rise in point and shoot disposable cameras. Instead of digital, it sees people living in the moment more as they can't check the photo once taken.
Absolutely, Sophie.
So true.
You know what? We're going to have to leave the love language.
Yeah, we are.
Which is good, actually, because that's going to be our podcast tomorrow. So look up love language and see what you think you are, because it might make it more interesting
Leap
for you.
here. I love that I've entered the live and the first thing that pops up is, do you avoid looking in the mirror?
Well, you don't, do you, Lee? You spent a long time looking in the mirror.
So the language of love. Are we going to pop up a link for the language of love? Or are you going to explain it? Are we going to? No, we're going to just.
No,
do
we're going to put up a link on the
it.
people pleasing. So
Right.
if people want to read more
Which,
on
intriguingly, I couldn't find a link on Google that wasn't on Apple, which is frustrating. So there might be a struggle finding the link to the.
Well,
people
just have a
pleasing.
little Google around and just like, if you are somebody who's locked in people pleasing, there are techniques that you can use.
Happy birthday to Millie.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Millie. Happy birthday to you.
And a welcome to Rachel.
Happy birthday.
Welcome to Rachel.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, it's because I was burping.
Welcome,
Sorry.
Rachel. Welcome,
No, hang on. Can I not be
Rachel.
burping when we do
Welcome, welcome,
No,
welcome,
no, this is not nice.
Rachel.
This is a welcome. Don't.
Welcome, Rachel.
No. No. Fucking hell. Mark, we've got to go. We're late.
I know.
Right.
I know.
1,
I've
2,
got to go.
3.
Come on.
Welcome, Rachel. Welcome you. Welcome, Rachel. Welcome you.
Welcome.
Oh God.
Welcome, Rachel. Welcome, Rachel.
Right, you've
Okay.
got to start it now because you're fucking
Welcome,
about.
welcome, Rachel.
Welcome, Rachel, to the family. We get started.
Welcome, Rachel.
Welcome, Rachel.
Rachel.
Welcome, Rachel.
You've had the longest welcome in the history of Rachel welcomes.
And Rachel, don't forget to join the live on the members area tomorrow because we are going to be giving out.
Wednesday, isn't it?
Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday or is it?
Instead of cards this week, we'll sign these as well. Rita very kindly
Squirrel.
gifted us these, and so 5 people.
Wednesday at
will win these.
7:30. And a welcome to Nicole Stevens. Nicole Stevens.
Nicole Stevens.
Nicole Stevens.
Nicole Stevens.
Stevens.
Welcome.
Stevens.